Hello, I'm Helly and I'm your cute bookworm friend who is here today with creepy book recommendations. And I'm gonna make sure that no matter what kind of a reader you are, beginner or advanced, or if you like reading descriptive passages or you like reading just very simple writing style, you find good reads in today's recommendations, because Halloween is one of the best times of the year to start your book reading or revive your book reading journey. So yes, without any further ado, let's get started with today's video. I really think that I'm so inappropriately dressed, like I look so cute, but trust me, all the creepiest things in the world look not so harmful from outside. So with that, let me tell you the first recommendations that I have for you today, and it's one of my favorite books in the horror genre, and it's We Have Always Lived in the Castle by Shirley Jackson. I have recommended Shirley Jackson's books before. Another Shirley Jackson book is Haunting of the Hill House, which was made into this amazing Netflix show as well, but I am gonna recommend We Have Always Lived in the Castle because I think it's not gotten as much exposure as it should. This book talks about a very normal yet somewhat creepy kind of a family. This family, there's only two girls remaining, and people have a lot of speculations about this family. But what makes this book so good in the genre of horror is not the fact that it's about girls living in a castle and the family is really strange, there's a lot of strange deaths. No, it's more about the fact that how onlookers perceive them, and that truly resonates with the horror of today's world, like today's society. How you're perceived says so much about your character, even more than who you are. I think that was more horrific to me than many more supposedly horrific things that I've read inside this book. So definitely gonna recommend this book. By the way, this book and majority of the upcoming books are available for you on Storytel, so that the price of these books don't give you a scare. Storytel subscription costs less than 400 for about 3 months. So all you need to do is get your Storytel subscription from the link in the description, and you can listen to as many books as you want with the same subscription fee. Once your subscription is done, you don't have to pay anything extra, no matter how many books you want to read, which is amazing for a bookworm like me who, one, reads a lot of books, and two, DNFs a lot of books as well. So I don't have to pay extra every time I am switching to another book. You can read as many books as you want on Storytel. And yes, my first recommendation would be Shirley Jackson's books. All of them are there on Storytel. Moving on, this one is not a horror, but rather leans on the mystery side. So if you want to read something that has ghost and afterlife, but you don't want to go into the horror and spooky place, there's this beautiful novella kind of a story called The Strange Death of Anindya Sundar, and it's a Bengali story translated into English, and it's read out by Rahul Bose, one of my favorite actors. So basically, Anindya Sundar is a crime story writer, and he gets murdered. And after murder, when he goes to heaven, the angel in the heaven tells him that he can solve his murder if he wants, but he'll only get 24 hours on earth to go back, and he needs to do things in a way so that nothing really changes. So he can't really change the occurrence, he still has to die, but he gets the chance to go and investigate his murder for 24 hours even after dying. I think the concept was very cool. I really like the ending too. It's more on the mystery side for sure, but it can be a good Halloween read if you're not that much of a scary book reader kind of a person. The third recommendation, and this is something that I always talk about no matter which genre I'm talking about, is ghost story omnibuses. There's a lot of great ghost omnibuses on Storytel as well to listen to, and I own a lot of ghost story collections as well. The best thing about collections is that you get a lot of assorted stories instead of just one big novel or just one big stretched out story. I know that these days people lead very busy lives. You either have studies or work, then you have your part-time work, then you have all your dreams and aspirations that you're chasing, and somehow you also have to make time for social life, and then somehow you also have to work out. Oh my god, that feels like a horror story. But for me, story collections or short story collections, no matter what the genre, have always been a go-to place, especially on the days I don't feel like reading much. So I would highly recommend that you read some ghost story omnibuses. My favorite ones are the ones that include Lovecraft stories or Robert Louis Stevenson stories or Edgar Allan Poe stories, which also brings me to the Edgar Allan Poe collection that I have. It's pretty costly, but if you don't have the budget right now, you can always listen to all the stories you want on Storytel. In fact, sometimes I just like to open the book and still listen so that, you know, I have a full world experience kind of thing, and it's really good. I do recommend Edgar Allan Poe only for someone who really has a grasp over the language of English, because if you don't, my friend, it's kind of hard to understand what he's trying to say. If language is a barrier, we can always go to Ruskin Bond stories. The next book that you should listen to is Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. This is a very strange, not really horror, but scary kind of a book. This is kind of a home, like a place for strange children with strange abilities to stay, and the leader of this place is of course Miss Peregrine. This book has a lot of follow-ups and all of them are equally creepy. I really believe that this book could have been made so much more creepier than what it is, but you know, I'm happy with what it is right now. There's a movie made about this as well, and I really was so shocked when I found out that the actor in this movie is Asa Butterfield, who in fact is the lead in Sex Education, one of my favorite Netflix series. But yes, the world feels like such a small place when you realize actors you really loved in certain movies are actually doing something entirely different, or something so different than you thought they'll be doing in the future. So enjoyed this book, enjoyed the movie, but yes, the movie comes nowhere close to the original book. So if you want to read a good horror or scary kind of a novel this year, please read Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. There's another freaky book that you can read, and it's called A Great and Terrible Beauty. It's a novel about Gemma. She's a 16-year-old who is sent to UK from India because her mother commits suicide. The starting itself is like pretty gory, so you can imagine how it unfolds. She has the strange ability to see things that others cannot. She can see things that have not happened yet, and yes, overall this is a very mystical book that you might enjoy. I don't see a lot of people recommending this, so I thought that it deserves your attention for sure. And the last book I'll recommend, and this is one that I'm about to listen to right now, so I don't know if I really love it or not, but this was a recommendation from my subscribers, so yeah, I hear you. And it's called The Unbecoming of Mara Dear. Or Dyer, whatever the pronunciation is. She's in an accident, and after the accident she realizes that two of her best friends have died. She hasn't, but of course after the accident things don't remain normal. She starts seeing things, dead people and all of that. So I think the trope of seeing dead people is something that is very overused. So I would be interested in seeing how the author kind of plays around it and doesn't make it like a cliche. So that is definitely something I'm looking forward to when I read this book for my own Halloween. I hope that you enjoyed these recommendations. The link to get a Storytel subscription so that you can listen to these books for a very nominal price will be in the description below. Let me know which of these books sounded the most interesting to you and which of these books you are definitely gonna pick out this year itself. I'd be looking forward, and yes, till the next video. Bye bye.